Disclaimer: this video contains clips and scenes from other properties. I do not own these clips. This is simply just to help out with the video better. With this in mind, Copyright Act 1976. I do not own these things and all clips and scenes belong to their rightful and respectful owners. Thank you, and please enjoy the video. What's up, people of YouTube? F-Man Critic back, and well, I thought today's a very special day. It's Friday, and not just that, I thought I might do a review, but not just any review. This review will have a dear friend of mine I joined on this video. You read the title right. My special guest star, good personal friend of mine, and the dude who's playing Jay on my Ninjago show. Welcome, David, or we're calling him Pokemon Master Big D.
Hello everyone, I'm David Mercado, but you can call me Pokemon Master Big D. Thanks for having me, Finley, and I'm here to express my opinions on each of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies that we've gotten over the course of the last 31 years, which overall have had rather mixed results. Let's start with the first ever movie based on the Heroes in a Half Shell.
Anyway, the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that was released in 1990, it was a really good movie. I heard no one wanted to make it at the beginning, but when it was halfway through production, a studio picked it up and decided, thereby sort of making the first movie an independent movie. And the animatronics who play the Turtles, they were pretty good. The action scenes were pretty fun, and what's even crazier is the movie was edgy, and I don't mean like edgy like. Point is the Turtles, they swag. Well, they mostly just said damn.
Just ninja kick the damn rabbit! Damn!
Come back here! I'm not finished with you! Damn!
In my opinion, TMNT, the original, was a really good movie. Even the animatronics, although they were made back then, they're still impressive even to this day. The movie was really good. I give it a 10 out of 10, and it was like a great way to introduce you to the 90s. What's your opinion, Big D?
1990, we got the first movie based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I thought it was not only a pretty faithful adaptation to the original cartoon, but also a pretty funny, action-packed, and entertaining movie on its own right. The puppets for the Turtles and Splinter were very top-notch, and they were both all made by Jim Henson's workshop. And they used body puppets and animatronics, and they look very good, not just for the time they were made, but also pretty good for this day and age nowadays too. What I love the most about this film are the characters, specifically the main characters. The Turtles are very fun, energetic, and comedic. April O'Neil and Casey Jones are pretty top-notch characters in their own right too, and Splinter is a nice, wise mentor figure. I also love the comedy and the action scenes, mainly from the Turtles. If I had to say a few issues with this movie is that the fact that the story can be pretty simple and slow at times, and that the final battle with Shredder and the Splinter was pretty anticlimactic. And speaking of which, Shredder himself was a pretty intimidating villain too. So while overall this film isn't flawless, I'd say it's a pretty darn good start for the first ever TMNT movie we got.
Secret of the Ooze was a very interesting sequel to TMNT, and for God's sake, it had the Turtles rapping with Vanilla Ice. Plus, the movie also gives us more stuff about the Ooze and what mutated the Turtles, and the Turtles actually meet some other creatures that are mutants as well. In other words, they finally meet their match with a classic. It's like Bebop and Rocksteady. Well, actually, no, they don't battle Bebop and Rocksteady. In fact, they battle two different characters, which kind of bothers me, called Toka and Razar. are, like, seriously, they had the money to make another animatronic suit, to make Bebop and Rocksteady, but instead of making a suit for a rhinoceros and a warthog, said they made one for a snapping turtle and a wolf. Oh, I think that's the name of the dog. Anyway, and then Shredder uses the last ounce of the ooze to turn himself into Super Shredder. And yeah, I don't know how the hell becoming a mutant also gives you more spikes on your armor. Plus, the way how they kill him off, he crushes a bunch of pillars and it collapses on him. Okay, first of all, if he was able to survive the dumpster truck, if he was able to survive getting crushed by a dumpster truck, then how the hell does this kill him off? Plus, he's Super Shredder now, so either way. It was kind of sucked that way. I'd give this movie a 9 out of 10. And I do love it, though. I really do. What do you think, Big D?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Secrets of Ooze in 1991, it was definitely more comedic and child-friendly, with the Turtles not swearing as much and using props and toys and stuff instead of actual weapons to fight the bad guys. This turned off a lot of people, and myself included, because it just seemed a little bit more kiddie and childish. And the Turtles themselves are a lot more goofier and comedic than they were in the first film, which kind of works as a double-edged sword because, yeah, they're the Turtles, they're goofy and comedic, but compared to how they were in the first film, it is kind of disappointing. And the Shredder himself was definitely a major downgrade as a villain. He looked goofy and he didn't really accomplish much. Even when they did the whole Super Shredder thing, it wasn't that great. But aside from that, the main characters were still their lovable selves. April was great, Splinter was great, the Turtles were awesome.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Ooh, how do I begin with this one? How did Angry Video Game Nerd pronounce this movie?
Cowabunga. Cow a fucking piece of dog shit. I'd rather watch crap oozing out of a buffalo's asshole.
Not to mention... So, in other words, and this movie took like 2 years to make after Secret of the Ooze. And let me be honest here, I don't hate it as much as everyone else does. I certainly thought this movie was trying in a way. I mean, it was kind of interesting to see the Turtles, go to Japan, the place where their father was, and, save Japan from this jerk. Anyway, and, yeah, and the point is, and I will say this though, Splinter does look awful. Like, we never see his upper body, we never see his upper body or him even stand. He just sits, or the point is that, but Casey Jones is back, like let me say this though, Casey was not in the sequel. He was not in Secret of the Ooze, so instead he was replaced with this delivery boy who helped the Turtles out. But for some reason, they never mention Casey. They just, the point is, and the way how they kill off the villain, I'm just gonna say it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have pretty shit ways of killing off their villains.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 in 1993. Unfortunately, this has garnered its reputation as one of, if not the worst, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie of all time, and honestly, I can sort of vouch for that. The plot itself was very stupid and boring, especially with the whole thing with trying to find this time-traveling scepter, and some of the characters from the original, like April O'Neil and Master Splinter, were not that great as they were. April was mostly just whining and annoying, and Splinter was kind of like a walking, talking fortune cookie, and on top of that, he was just psychic for some reason. Like, that's the thing. And the Turtles themselves, they were pretty fun, but compared to the original, they were kind of sort of more annoying than they should have been. Casey Jones was honestly pretty good, and I liked his subplot with the ancient warriors from the past. And what else? The effects themselves were made by a different company beside that weren't Jim Henson's workshop, but they were still pretty fine. Though the puppets were definitely different from the models they were before. The villains themselves, they just suck. Not just compared to Shredder, they just suck in general. So yeah, I can definitely say in my personal opinion, it's my least favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie of all time.
Anyway, TMNT it was basically like, was it 14 years? I forgot. Since they like I heard there was like a huge 14 gap between in regular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies and the movies we have now. In this one, they don't battle the Shredder, Bebop and Rocksteady, Krang, and Baxter Stockman. Instead, they fight these Stone Warrior dudes because 3,000 years ago, this dude named Winter, for his first name. Point is, he kind of brought a curse on himself that made him immortal, releasing 13 monsters into this world. And like, basically, where do I begin with this? The animation, just epic. Like, I just adore the fighting scenes. Like, and we finally get to see Leo and Raph fight together. And it's amazing. Anyway, the animation is just beautiful. Like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, that movie was dark. And what I mean by this is this movie is also dark. Like it's a little gory, but yeah, there's also like a lot of darkness in the screen. Point is, I really loved it, and I adore the climax of the movie, where the Turtles, Casey, April, Splinter gather around to save Leo, and they're fighting the Foot Clan. And point is, I just adore that climax. That's my favorite part of the movie, that is.
Little help, Doc! I'm on it!
But anyway, that's just my personal opinion. What do you think, Big D?
We move on to the movie that was made by the Weinstein Companies in 2007, TMNT. This one was fine for the most part, but in my opinion, also pretty underrated. The reason why I say that is because, like, the biggest issue with it is that the story itself felt very vague and convoluted. Like, with the whole plot with needing to find these 13 monsters, it felt kind of half-baked, and it just assumed that everybody watching it was a TMNT fan, which leaves a lot of people, not like myself, kind of in the deep end. They don't know what's necessarily going on. But still, what I really liked about it were the characters and the drama that went down. Like, I like Leo, I like Raphael, I like April, I like Casey Jones, I like Splinter, and I feel like I also did like Mikey and Donnie, but I feel like they definitely could have done a lot more. It felt like they were just there for most of the time. And what else? I love the dynamic between Leo and Raph, especially the part in the second act where they're fighting with each other and Leo pretty much lets Raph wins and Raph sees the error of his ways. And I also like the action scenes. The action scenes themselves are pretty nicely done. And I will say this, the animation, it definitely hasn't aged well, especially compared to when other animated films that were released during that time in 2007, but it still was pretty okay for what it was. I also like the antagonist, Mr. Winters. I wouldn't even call him a villain because he has his own thing with wanting to break his curse of immortality and redeem himself for his past misdeeds. So overall, while I'd say this film was very overstuffed and very convoluted and vague, I still think there was a lot of good and enjoyable stuff about it, especially it's very underrated.
Anyway, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014 is here. Basically, the was it Michael Bay? Yeah, I think it was. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. A lot of people, mostly haters, have really strong feelings for this movie, and not in a good way. Some people said it was crap, and others thought it was okay. Well, I will certainly say this. I am one of those people who thought the movie was okay. I mean, I thought the story was, it was a bit stupid. And the part where Mikey kept hitting on April was a bit weird. I mean, dude, Mikey. I mean, it's revealed in the movie that April used to look after them. So in a way, doesn't that technically make April their mother the Turtles' mother in a way? So in other words, Mikey's just flirting with his mother. Whatever. And I will admit this, is it did have a really awesome looking Shredder. I mean, seriously, he looks like a Terminator mashed with, the Shredder. Like, I really thought the Shredder was pretty cool. Well, sure, his villain motives are stupid, and there was supposed to be a thing where he was played by a different guy. He was supposed to be Eric Snipe, I think. I don't know. Who was supposed to be the Shredder, but people gave him crap for it, so they just chose another dude. Other than that, though, I will admit this scene was pretty fun. Anyway, that's just my opinion, really. I mean, and I will say this, though, the way how the turtles look, they do look pretty cool, actually, they look different, they have different types of styles on their bodies to make them, different from one another. Honestly, I have no freaking reason why people gave them shit when they looked like that. Seriously, like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I'm sorry to bring this up, but at least that tried to, showed us what Sonic would look like in our world, you know what I mean? And let's be honest here, if 4 or mutated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lived in our world, I guarantee you, they would look like that. And honestly, I really do like their designs. And it's better than them being aliens from Dimension X and their parents were murdered by the Krang. I heard originally for this movie, they were not mutated turtles. Instead, they were aliens that fled from Dimension X by the Krang. Yeah, at least they didn't go that way. Am I right? Anyway, that's just my opinion. What do you think, Big D?
And next we move on to the 2 movies that were released in 2014 and 2016, both made by Michael Bay himself, who made the live-action Transformers films. And sad to say, although I personally don't think that these are worse than the OG third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, they definitely were pretty subpar. For the first film in 2004 and 2014, it just felt like a typical one of Michael Bay's typical Transformers films. It felt very grim for the most part. The comedy felt forced, and I'd say the human actors weren't that great. Especially Megan Fox as April, she really just underacted throughout most of the film. And what else? I liked the turtles, their personality-wise. I did not like how they were visually because they were bulky and they looked kind of uncanny with their big muscles, their big shells, and all the clothing and detail they had on them. That was pretty uncanny, right, buddy? And so I never really quite understood, but the personality-wise, they were pretty likable and enjoyable. One thing the 2 things that really irked me about this film, the fact that the turtles were originally April's pets, and that was completely stupid, and the fact that Shredder in this film is a sidekick to the main villain, and the main villain himself was just completely boring. So there are some good things, the visuals are nice. Michael Bay does great with the visually, but his storytelling leaves a lot to be desired, and overall the first film was just very below par.
Anyway, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows, was released 2 years after the first one, and I will certainly say it is definitely a huge improvement. Literally, the director heard everyone out, and he just decided to actually do it in the sequel. For once, the director listened for once. Well, it wouldn't be the first time, but you know what I mean. Anyway, what happens in this movie? Well, not only do new characters come, like Casey Jones, we also get at the top villains known as the Krang. Oh, he just looks marvelous, doesn't he? He just looks amazing. He looks like a wad of chewing gum with an eyeball and mouth. With eyeballs and mouth. And not just that, instead of getting in wannabes like Toka and Razar, we get the actual Bebop and Rocksteady, and my god, do they look amazing. And I generally just love it. I generally love their designs. I generally love just, all I'm saying is I just love it. You know, and I heard, you know, like, this movie was supposed to get a third one, but due to the fact that it didn't do well in the box office, it got canned. No! Oh, damn it. Whatever. Anyway, you know, Shredder making a deal with Krang to get pieces for the Technodrome. Oh, even though I'm surprised he wasn't all like, what the hell am I? What the hell are you? Oh my god! I know he's a trained ninja and he's supposed to keep his cool, but still, he's been randomly teleported into like some sort of spaceship, and then he meets like some weird talking brain in out of a robot's tum-tum. You know what I mean? I'm surprised he doesn't question that crap. He just immediately just goes on. I will say this though, when it ends, you know, Shredder, like, he practically gets killed off. Like literally he just gets frozen and then added to Krang's collection. Like, yeah, and there's no cliffhanger saying he'll return. No, we're just supposed to believe that Shredder's now frozen. So, in other words, at least it ended well. I mean, the movie's basically about how the turtles are basically upset of how people look at them, you know, because they're turtles. I think that was basically, you know, I think that was basically because, well, that's basically what everyone was complaining in the first one. People were complaining how they looked, so I guess they added that into the movie. You know, in my opinion, the turtles look awesome. They don't need to become human just to, you know. Yeah, they try to become human. There's a whole scene where Donnie gets ooze that made Bebop and Rocksteady into mutants. Because if it made them into animals, it could turn them into human. And the part where where he drops with that stuff on his hand and he just managed to get 5 fingers, that was freaky. Like, I was genuinely freaked. I was not prepared for that. Climax was pretty cool, and I just generally thought it was a great movie. Shame it never got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles free. And sure, Casey Jones was basically the worst version of Casey Jones. Like, literally, Casey Jones supposed to be like a rebel, a dude who just acts like a vigilante. He was never in too much into law enforcement. You know, like he's a cop in this one, and you know that's basically what going against Casey Jones was. You know, and Megan Fox. She does act like she doesn't give a damn most of the time, but I let it all slide because, you know, the fighting and, you know, generally just how this movie is. What do you think, Big D?
Out of the shadows, it was honestly an improvement. Like, the turtles themselves were still pretty likable, and it was nice that Shredder was the main villain this time around, along with also getting Bebop and Rocksteady and the Crane. But the story itself was pretty much the same as the first film. Very convoluted, very boring, very stupid, and my god, like, let me just say this. The Out of Shadows version of Casey Jones is the worst depiction of him of all time. Like, seriously, he's just a whiny jerk, and he really just annoys the hell out of me. So overall, while I'd say these films are had some nice things about it, they're overall very underwhelming. But then again, most of Michael Bay's film reputation was underwhelming, so I guess I should have expected that.
Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, well, I personally will say, I feel like it's the best one out of all the movies so far. I mean, for God's sake, the movie is just beautiful. Well, the animation's just well polished, and they got Ben Schwartz playing as Leo. Oh, okay, something that has Ben Schwartz in it, sign me up. It's official. That dude will play any character that has a blue theme to him. Sonic the Hedgehog, Louie from DuckTales. All I'm saying is that dude won't say no to a blue character. So who can blame him? Blue is a very beautiful color. Anyway, what's the movie about? Oh, well, it takes place in the future. Casey Jones went back in time. To stop the Krang from returning. Then he meets up with April. And, you know, point is they go on an epic adventure to stop the Krang because of a mistake Leonardo did. You know, this movie takes place after the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV show that went on for 2 years. After that, Splinter said Leo is now leader. I feel like the only reason why Raph was leader in the show was because of that rhyme. I'm from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles song when they said, Ed Raphael is the leader of the group. even though it's Leonardo. Oh, I feel like they only made him leader in the show was because of the song. Whatever. Point is, the animation is just, well, beautiful. And the Krang, they take away their powers. So they have to do stuff to try to either stop the Krang, get their powers back, and save Raph, because Raph gets kidnapped. And the Krang, let me tell you something about the Krang, actually. Instead of, they kind of look like this. They are destructive and evil, but they kind of look like Minecraft creepers, alright? Like, seriously, they're all blocky and stuff, instead of, being all round and squishy. Somehow they take away the turtles' powers, and, and the way how they brought their powers back was just beautiful. It was just really inspiring. My favorite scene in the movie, that is.
We are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Anyway, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was pretty fun and entertaining. And I will certainly say this, though. I do have this one nitpick at it. In the beginning of the movie, April discovers that her college or high school is carrying up something secret, and it's this stuff of blue liquid. Like, point is, the school is hiding something, and later on, she uses that stuff to stop the Krang a little bit. Like when she throws that one at the female Krang, half of her face is gone. Like someone took a huge bite out of her face. Ace. Anyway, and yeah, we never understood why the school has this, or if they ever use it to defeat the Krang. All we know is Leo ends up sacrificing himself to the Krang by using his teleporting swords, or to trap at the leader of the Krang and into the prison dimension. And it was really heartbreaking. It really was. But luckily, thanks to Mikey having powers to create portals with his hands, and it's something that just happens in the movie. Like, he tries to recreate portals when Casey told him about it. Then again, it could come with a cost that it could kill him, because it did kill old Mikey when he was making that portal to go back in time. And this is a really funny joke at the end of the movie where April is getting a text from Cassandra and Foot Clan, and he's all like, "That's my mom!" So, wait, hang on. If he knows what his mom looks like, then how come he doesn't know her name? I know it's part of the joke, but come on. It just never came up back then. And I mean, I hardly know my grandparents, and even I know their names. Frank and Teresa, I hardly know them, and, point is, I really, really love this movie. Animation, just beautiful. Storytelling's pretty good. And quite frankly, it should have renewed the show for another season, you know what I mean? Anyway, what do you think, Big D?
Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, in 2022. Now, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is in my opinion, a very great show for the franchise. Like, sure, they changed the characters and the lore a lot, but the thing is, once you get used to it, you look past and get, treat it as its own thing, it's actually a really good show. Like, the animation, the actions are extraordinary. The characters, they warm up to you over time. They all have distinct personalities. The villains are great. And, it's just a really, in my opinion, very overhated show and doesn't get nearly as much credit as it should have. And I was very disappointed with the fact that it got canned, Nickelodeon canned it in season 2. But thankfully, we did get a movie that also serves as sort of a proper conclusion on Netflix. And let me just say, it was extraordinary. In my opinion, the best film since the very first one in 1990, and in my opinion, probably the best film of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise of all time. What I loved the most about it was pretty much everything. The animation and action scenes were even better than they already were in the show. There was a lot of detail, shading, lighting. The movement was more fluid, and that's all I have to say to it. And the characters themselves were great. The Turtles were still their likable selves, but unlike past films, each of the Turtles, including Mikey and Donnie, got something to do and had a character arc of some sort.
April and Splinter were kind of there, but they were still their entertaining selves. This film's take on Casey Jones was very unique, with him being Leo's mentor from the future. Well, not mentor, Leo's student from the future. And the Crane themselves, man, they were intense. This is probably like the most intense the Crane have ever been since the TMNT 2012 series, ironically made for Nickelodeon. From how they were able to take away the Turtles' mystic powers to their very scary and near successful invasion of New York City and trying to make the whole world their thing, they were definitely intense. And like, I loved Leo. You know, Leo was my best character. He starts off as this cocky, arrogant jerk, but over the course of the film, like, he learns to humble himself and become a proper leader, which is great because there's this rise of the TMNT Turtles. So this is how Leo would grow into being a leader like he was supposed to. So overall, I'd say this film, in my personal opinion, is the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie we've ever gotten, and also one of the best Nickelodeon animated films you've ever gotten.
This review was very full, but like at the end of all my reviews, I gotta give a shout out. So, what shout out do I give to this review? This review shout out goes to cartoons from the 80s and 90s. It's a YouTube channel that lets you watch any kind of TV show that was from the 80s and 90s. Hell, they even have the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV show on there. So go check it out. It was fun having you on my show. Oh, Big D.
Thank you for having me, Finley, and I hope I was able to help well with your review.